the streets where the soul resides. The enemy is subtle, the venom he provides. Satan, he tries to destroy me, sending fear like a slave. Tried to lock me in the darkness, put my purpose in the grave. Put showing vices in my vision, making change feel like gold. Whispering doubts in my ear, saying the story's getting old. But the fire in my belly is not powered by the heat. It's the spirit's revelation, keep me steady on my feet. The declaration. Tall through the gray weather. I don't run from the darkness, I just move like it is better. I step out bold, no need to duck or run. The fiery darts he throws, they blocked by the sun. And I carry the shield before me, the armor of God defends. These sins, they can't break me. It's the power of the blood, Christ save me. Tested in the crucible, forced in the intense fire. The devil throws darts, but the spirit makes the steel stronger. Can't negotiate, it's not up for debate. My soul is never barter. I can't change my mind, he's changed my life. Shattering every lie and bad dream. They measure power and currency. I measure mine and grace. I got the word on the speaker, setting the world's pace. I am not moving on my own time.
What's happening, everybody? Tyrone Bowman, welcome to Breaking the Chains. The topic of discussion tonight, it's a very important one, and this is a brand new channel that I'm pioneering, and hopefully, well, it will grow. Right now we have 66 subscribers. We're working on getting 100, and we will. And tonight I'm going to talk about something that's really, really important, the prison industrial complex. When I was on last night, I alluded and talked about it briefly for a moment. But tonight I'm going to have an in-depth discussion about it. And it's important, and I'll tell you the reason why. Millions of people in America are locked up from all races, all nationalities, I'm good, how are you? From all races, all nationalities, all ethnic origins, from all walks of life. But there is one organization that controls it all, that makes it happen. It's called the Prison Industrial Complex. And this is something that you should know what it is and what it is not, and how it functions and operates, because they are what is fueling the ego system. I call it prisonomics. I'll put it that way. Prisonomics is when you have a system that operates and thrives under the mantra of, quote, law and order toughness. As far as they're concerned, everybody is a criminal, no matter who they are, whether they're falsely accused or whether they actually committed a crime. In their eyes, everybody is guilty. Millions of people are employed by the prison industrial complex. Millions. You'll be surprised. So, topic started tonight. So once again, welcome to Breaking the Chains. And my brothers and sisters, for those of you that are home, break the chains in your mind first. Physical handcuffs will come off. The anklets will come off. But the question is, how is your mind operating? Because if you are locked up in your mind, you will never be free. You got to be free in here first, on the inside. The prison industrial complex, or the PIC, the overlapping network of government, political, and private business interests that uses surveillance, policing, and mass incarceration to drive profit and solve social, economic, or political problems. Coined as an extension of the 1950s, quote, military industrial complex, end quote, the term describes how incarceration becomes a self-perpetuating multi-billion-dollar industry where powerful entities financially and politically gain from maintaining high prison populations, according to Tufts University. You'd be surprised who are the individuals who have major investments in the prison industrial complex. I'll give an example. Commissary or the jail store. Some of you who will come across this video and some who will come here live tonight. You've got family or friends or associates or people who used to be your friends, they're locked up. And they're always talking about commissary. That's the prison store. Well, in order for commissary or the prison store to function, it has to be supplied with everything from Timberland boots to coats and shirts and all types of food and toiletries and cosmetics and everything. Someone has to make this stuff. And they have to contractually be obligated with the prisons, the prison industrial complex. And whoever gets that bid, whoever gets that contract, they make millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars as a result of it. And you will be surprised just how much stuff costs on commissary. The average pair of, they're not real Tims, we used to call them M's, but they like to call them Timberlands. You know how much they're paying for them? About $350 per. And you'll find me telling you, I need a pair of boots. Well, what's wrong with the jail boots? They hurt my feet because they want something that's stylish and fashionable. So how does the prison industrial complex operate? Let's break it down. You have the private prison operators, which are for-profit corporations. They manage facilities and receive state-guaranteed funding. Isn't that something? Or the government funds them. Private corporations who make hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions. Then there's the political lobbying part. The industry groups heavily fund campaigns to promote, quote, tough on crime laws, end quote. These corporations have lawyers who lobby up on Capitol Hill with the Senate and the congressmen, and they pay big money in the millions of dollars to persuade a congressman or a senator to vote in their interest. They will fund their campaign, give them the money that they need to win and be elected into office. Why am I having this conversation tonight? Because you need to know. It's more than just somebody being locked. A world within a world. It is an organization. It is a government. It is an entity. It is a monolithic economic hub that causes people to be able to demand it to work because how do you think cars are made? License plates and furniture and all these things that people love. They're made in prisons. Some of them are lifers. They'll never get out, so they get jobs. But they're made in prisons. Then you have the vendor contracts which are outside vendors who charge exorbitant rates for inmate phone calls and canteen items. Forget the canteen, it's commissary. Have you ever received a collect call from prison? You know how much that call costs? It costs a lot of money for you to talk for 15 minutes. Really, it ain't 15. And be interrupted by a loud message that overpowers your voice throughout the entire conversation. That is to annoy you. That's to upset you and make you mad. And that will cause the person to have to keep calling back and back, because every time they call, per minute you get charged. Not per phone call, per minute. That's why your phone bill, if you look at it, you're like, I didn't know it was going to cost $400 to talk to him this week. And sometimes they call 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 times a day. Then you have the corporation prison labor. Major companies utilize sub-minimum wage inmate labor to manufacture goods according to justice education. And the facilities must remain full at all time. Government contracts often mandate that facilities remain at least full, meaning the beds have to be full. Why do you listen to me? You might not like what I'm about to say, but it's important. Why do you think they let your loved ones out on parole? You think it's because of good behavior? You think because they were a model inmate? You really believe it was because they obeyed all the rules? No. They let them out so they can make room for others to come, and they want them to come back, because you know what it costs to keep a person locked up per year? We're talking almost $100,000 per prisoner. So the prison industrial complex is broken down. You have the government and politics, which consist of policymakers, court systems, and bail agencies. Let me say that again. Policymakers, court system, and bail agencies. They all work together hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Why do you think bail is so high? It's to fuel it. Then you have the private vendors, private operators, the supply vendors, and telecom providers. Big business. They go to war over these bidding contracts. You have the communities and media, you have the mass media, the impacted groups, and the labor resource groups. And the role of the private industry is simple. While public prisons form the majority of the system, scholars and activists highlight how private entities embed themselves deeply into correctional infrastructure. A single person relies on an ecosystem of thousands of private businesses. These include specialized healthcare providers, electronic monitoring agencies, architectural firms, and food transport services, according to Justice Education. And another thing, have you noticed what's happening online lately? You see a lot of AI generated ads asking people to become a part of the prison industrial complex. Isn't that something? They try to get them to get a job because they're going to make almost $100,000 a year just from being a CO. That's a lot of money, y'all. I know a couple of COs, so I know how much money they make. That's a lot of money. Don't take it lightly. Don't think it's not a lot of money, because it is. Plus benefits, plus overtime. So the question is it exploiting the 13th Amendment loophole? You better believe it is. Critics frequently label the PIC, or the prison industrial complex, as a modern evolution of forced servitude or slavery. The 13th Amendment of the Constitution legally abolished slavery except as a punishment for a crime. The loophole permits private industries and state governments to pay incarcerated workers pennies per hour. That's why a lot of people don't want no prison jobs, because they're not making any money. This structure incentivizes the expansion of prison construction and high sentencing rates over rehabilitation, according to Merriam-Webster. You got that right. They do not want rehabilitation. They want recidivism. They want incarceration. They want people to stay locked up because it's slavery. That's what it is. Incarceration is modern day slavery, institutionalized slavery. And the COs and the people who operate it, all you have to do is substitute them for once what was, and then you know what's happening. So disproportionately, the social economic disparities disproportionately targets, low income communities and people of color, poor black people. Why do you think the cops are so quick to arrest them, intimidate them, say all types of crap to them so they can arrest them up? That's the main goal, arrest them. Don't you know they're taught at the academy how to incite, to bait, to trap individuals, touch their emotional strings to get them to react, and as soon as they do, they got you. Because the main thing is get you in the system. Find any way possible to criminalize you and lock your child up. Because that way, once they get them, they're not going to let them go. You can believe that. They're not going to let them go. They're going to find a way to keep them. If they don't have a record, they're going to find a way to give them a record, to make their lives miserable and make your life miserable. This is a side note. Don't you know every person in your family who does time, you're doing time with them? How? Emotionally. You might not be doing it physically. Emotionally, you've got to go to the court dates. You got to raise bail money. You got to find out who's going to take care of the kids. You've got to take time off of work. You have to keep coming back and forth to court. That's designed that way, to frustrate you. One continuance after another. And they want the person not to keep the recommendation of the bail requirements, because that way they can keep the money and they can take your property in the process. Be careful when somebody says, can you bail me out? You better think twice. Think twice, long and hard, before you say yes, because you become the assurer for that person showing up in court. You bear responsibility. And the corporate windfalls, the PIC generates billions for entities like immigration detention centers. Detention centers are nothing more than prisons. That's all. Why do you think the people are not being deported as quickly as they once were? Because they want to make money off of them. So they put them in detention centers, and basically they're slaves. And all types of things are going on in these detention centers around the country. So perpetual incarceration is the goal, which focuses resources on punitive confinement rather than rehabilitation. So don't look for, I'm going to make this part one. I'm not going to make this a long broadcast because I want to be able to hold everybody's attention. So this will be part one about the prison industrial complex. According to Tufts University, prison divestment. As explained by abolitionist organizations, critical resistance. I'm quoting, the prison industrial complex, PIC, is a term we use to describe the overlapping interests of government and industry that uses surveillance, policing, and imprisonment as solutions to economic, social, and political problems. By naming the PIC, we identify the expansive network of people and parties with vested interest in mass incarceration and undercover how this network functions to fill prisons and support mass incarceration. Current estimates indicate that there are approximately 2.3 million people incarcerated in the United States, with an additional 4.5 million people on probation or parole. 4.5 million people on probation and parole. And as I said before, I'm going to say it again. And people think they're on probation and on parole because they're so good, because they're so wonderful. No, they let you come out because they want you to come back. For you to stay out. That's the goal. Not to make it easy for you. And you have 4.5 million people on probation or parole. The U.S. has the world's highest incarceration rate, and despite representing under 5% of the global population, the U.S. holds almost 20% of the global prison population, according to the Prison Policy Initiative. The staggering incarceration rates in the U.S. can be traced back to a variety of factors and forces throughout the course of recent U.S. history. In the New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, argues that, quote, convictions for drug offenses are the single most important cause of the explosion of incarceration rates in the United States. More than 31 million people have been arrested for drug offenses since the drug war began. Nothing has contributed more to the system or systematic mass incarceration of people of color in the United States than the war on drugs. And listen, one key feature of mass incarceration in the U.S. is the radical disparity in incarceration rates. People of color, or black people, are incarcerated at disproportionately higher rates than white people, as indicated by Alexander above. The war on drugs, which began in the late 1960s and continued throughout the next several decades, provides a clear case study for this trend, despite the fact that people of all races use and sell illegal drugs at remarkable similar rates. People of color are incarcerated at rates far higher than their white counterparts, according to Michelle Alexander. For example, black men have been admitted to state prisons on drug charges at a rate that is more than 13 times higher than white men. The disproportionate incarceration of people of color is not exclusive to drug crimes, but rather constitutes a broader trend across offenses. The American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, reveals that 1 out of every 3 black boys born today can expect to go to prison in his lifetime. That's a lot. As can 1 of every 6 Latino boys, compared to 1 of every 17 white boys. Differential incarceration rates are not limited to race and other marginalized groups, including people, poor people, queer people. I don't know why they put that in there. Should be the LGBTQ plus people. And disabled people are also disproportionately incarcerated. Let me ask you a question. You ever wonder why the cannabis business or the weed business or the drug business is so popular? You know why they legalized it? Because they found a justifiable way to lock people up for street drugs, but then legalize drugs so that they can make billions and billions of dollars. Weed, drugs, That's all it is. It's the drug business, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake about it. And if you don't think that's what it is, you're fooling yourself. The drug business is booming. It's powerful. It's looming. So I'm going to leave it right here. And so I'll make this about 30 minutes long. Additionally, the prison industrial complex encompasses a growing network of privatized immigration detention centers, which have become the default for imprisoning undocumented immigrants for indeterminate amounts of time, even while gaining a track record of detainee abuse and neglect. Today, 73% of undocumented people detained in the U.S. are housed in private facilities, according to the New York Times of 2018. Operating with little regulation or oversight, these detention centers have a clear financial incentive to cut medical, food, and maintenance costs in order to maximize shareholder returns. In other words, they don't care. Because once they get in there, they're going to give them the cheapest of everything. How do I know? How do I know so much about it? Because I did a 10-year bid. That's how I know. I know how it works from the inside. The organizational structure, the governmental structure, the political aspect of it, the hierarchy among the inmates. I'm finished reading. I'm not doing any more reading. I know how it operates because I've seen it operate. And no one can tell me anything different. I can tell you what happens from the time that they're arrested until the time they come to court or pre-bargain. And stop thinking that these defense attorneys are there to help your child. They're not there to help them. They're there to help to lure them and steer them to pre-bargaining their life away so they can do what I call case disposal and get on to the next client. The district attorney deliberately will play political football with your child. Okay, I spoke to the district attorney and they said, this is their offer, 15 or 30 years. Your client says, we're not taking it. Well, I'll try my best to go back to them, but I don't think they're going to come down. They'll come back and say, I talked to them again. They said they'll give you 5 to 10 for a drug offense. I'm not taking it. And then they'll go back, and then the district attorney says, all right, 4 to 8. That's what they wanted to give him to begin with. And guess what? The harshest penalties go to the black people, not the Caucasian people. You can have a black person and a Caucasian person and a Latino person who commit the same crime. The Latino people and the black people are going to get the worst charge, and they're automatically going to go up to the big house, the state penitentiary, while the Caucasian person will get a light charge, and they'll let them stay down in the county, close to their family. It's designed to destroy your families. It's designed to bankrupt the family structure. It's designed to frustrate you and make you angry and lose your job and everything else so they can criminalize you and get you locked up. That's what it's designed for. Now, granted, a lot of people do a lot of dumb stuff to get themselves entrapped in the system. And the district attorney is not on your side. The public pretender is not on your side. And half of the so-called defense attorneys, they're definitely not on your side unless you get a prominent, at the top chain private attorney. I'm not talking about the bottom feeders, the ones who will take any case. I'm talking about the real, genuine, authentic ones who come from reputable law firms with about 300 or 400 lawyers on staff that can litigate anything. And that's why you pay big bucks. Because they can go up against the judicial system because they've got the resources, they've got the man and woman power, they've got everything it takes to challenge the judicial system. And it's designed, I was talking about the weed business, the cannabis business. So When they found out that they could tax it, it's like, you know what? Now we're going to legalize it. But we're not going to let those people out for the drug offenses. We don't care about them. They're nothing but so-and-sos anyway. All right, Tom, is the board coming together? Is the board meeting in session? All right, the shareholders meeting is in session, and this is what we're going to do, fellas. We have a consensus of the board. We're going to legalize drugs. We're going into the drug business. You know what we're going to call it? We're going to call it cannabis. That's what it's called. We don't call it drugs. We don't call it weed. We call it cannabis. And we're going to make billions. And we're going to control it. We're going to tax it. We're going to legalize it. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to give them medical marijuana cards. Because the medical marijuana cards is nothing more than an unofficial license to give them to be able to have their drugs. I mean, their medicine. Excuse me, Tom. Their medicine. They popped up all over the country all of a sudden. You see them. They're all around the country. They come under names like Organic Farms or a Farm Aid. Then you got to buy the medical marijuana card. Spin it. It's nothing more than the weed business. Meanwhile, the street pharmacists or the street drug dealers are still getting arrested, still being criminalized, still being locked up. And the people who run the prison industrial complex are raking in the profits like nobody's business. In part 2 of the prison industrial complex, we will go deeper. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to Breaking the Chains with your boy here. It's a brand new channel. Our main channel is doing very well. We have over 5,000 plus subscribers on Tyrone Bowman. So you can go over there. I'm over there live about maybe 2 or 3, 4 times a week. So until next time, thank you all for watching. And remember this, stay free by breaking the chains off your mind.